Welcome back to the Agent Goldmine. And today we are continuing buyer part 5, I think. Is this number 5, Ali?
It sure is. It's 5, baby.
Yes, got it. Okay, cool. So in case you missed it, we have other parts before this. And the last one that we did was finishing up where we went under contract. And then it's like, what's next after contract? And we talked about inspections. We talked about the repair request, all the things you need to know to get those pieces all freaking locked in. And so today, friends, what we're doing is we are prepping for closing. And after closing, we're talking about what you should do right after closing to have all of your shit squared away. Make sure you're doing all the things that will set you up long-term for your business and for that specific client. And of course, we have none other than the Ali Garced in the house today to continue this buyer series. Ali!
Welcome to the Agent Goldmine, the only podcast in the world specifically for real estate agents who are stuck at 5 transactions a year to help them get to 20 plus. Your hosts, Ali Garced and Shelby Johnson, 2 EXP icon agents, each do over 40 transactions a year and interview others who are crushing it. In this podcast, you'll receive the knowledge to help you scale your business using systems and processes with our interviews and monologues twice a week. If you want to be a part of our community, reach out. Welcome to the show.
Ali, welcome.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I feel like Simone Biles right now.
Oh my God.
This episode, I'm gonna shut this conversation off before
you should, because I'm about to word vomit everywhere, all about gymnastics for the next 45 minutes. But yeah, you're right. Let's turn that fucking lever off.
So today's episode is going to be the before closing checklist. And I send this out. This, of course, is accompanied with an email that I use Superhuman. So this is going to cover what to do, on your side, and exactly what to tell your buyers to do the week-ish before closing. I have this on my CRM and my checklist to send out a week before closing, but also sometimes it differs depending on timelines, when the buyer is actually going to physically arrive, et cetera, being that I work with a lot of VA, out of state, a lot of out of country buyers. So of course, my checklist may differ slightly from yours, but we are giving these checklists away. So text the word checklist to either one of us, 914-318-4918, 704, I don't know your number, Shelby.
You're so close. 703-399-4332.
Yes.
You almost nailed it.
So, okay, let's take it from the top. I'm sharing my screen again. And if you want to take a look at this, the best way to see what I'm going through is on YouTube. So the before closing checklist, bullet point number 1 is email the clients the before closing checklist. I'm about to show you exactly what that email says. This in mine is buyer email number 5. And pretty much I say, it's been a pleasure working with you, because we're already pretty much downhill. All the contingencies at this point have been removed. It's pretty much almost a done deal. But of course, you can never consider anything a done deal until you get your commission. So don't ever rely on any payment. And at this point with EXP, we have the EXP, what is it called? The concierge that already will be talking to the buyer and the seller clients, if whoever we're representing. So in this case, the buyer client, they have already called them and emailed them, and it's a free service to them that will help them switch over utilities. So depending on how big your area is, you may just have one internet provider, one water, one electric, etc. But you may also have a few. So this free service to the agent and free service to the clients will help them, let them know, hey, you're in this part of town. This is going to be your water servicer. This is going to be your electric. So in case, what I do is I send it to them anyway, because sometimes they see an email from something that says, Tucson concierge and EXP, and they're like, who is this? So just to make sure it's super clear, I do a lot of redundancies in case you couldn't already tell. So at this point, I'm going to share what exactly email number 5 is. Before I go there, Shelby, do you have anything?
For just the concierge, just real quick. So that is that, and I'm confirming because I've never actually used them because I don't know if it was in existence back. It probably was, and I just didn't realize it. But it's one of the things that I'm implementing now, but I've never personally used it. So within EXP, it is like a third-party service that you connect your client with, and they essentially will turn on or switch over all the utilities for them. Is that correct?
Yes, that's 100% correct. And it's crazy because it's free it's a service that EXP pays for. So it's free for the client and it's free for the agent. Because at first I was like, there's got to be,
I was like, what's the catch? Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so it doesn't actually turn on the service for them because that third party would then need that person's social security and like all this information that third party doesn't have, but it tells them exactly who their servicer is and it makes that connection a lot easier.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, because I used to have fucking nightmares. Not really, but like almost with all of the utilities associated with all of my rentals. And it's annoying with primary residence too. And this is, so I'm just saying that like utilities can be really, really, really painful. So this sounds like a really good service to take some of that pain off of their shoulders.
So now I'm sharing my screen of my email, buyer email number 5, week before closing checklist. Shelby and I love our freaking checklist. And of course, what's the first thing? Once again, it's a bomb that I pay extra for. I pay $30 a month for BombBomb, BOMB.com. And this video covers exactly what the rest of, I'm not going to play the video because it covers everything of what is already in this email. Again, it's just to make it easier for the client because sometimes they don't want to read. Sometimes my emails are very lengthy, so I make it easier for them and I pretty much read for them. Okay, so in this email, I have next steps for you, again, because I assign all these clients homework. Number 1 is to transfer all the utilities to your personal name, credit card or checking account starting on your closing date. This may be different depending on state. In Arizona, the buyer is responsible for day 1, the day that they close. And so then the solar lease, if applicable, the information there, Tucson, water, sewer, trash, all of the electric, the different types of electric, the gas, this is a template. So as I'm pulling up this template, or the snippet is what Superhuman calls it, if I know that they're buying in a certain specific area, then I'm going to delete the other electric companies that do not apply. So that way I just have everything available. And even if I forget to delete the specific part, they know where they're buying. So, and in case they forget what city or area of town they're buying, Tucson Concierge will help them through that. So I have this as a redundancy. Number 2 is to schedule a locksmith to change the locks on the property after recording. So again, that may be Arizona specific. Do ask your broker in case you don't know. But I always like to make sure that the buyer does it immediately after because I have a horror story. And I don't know, Shelby, if you want to go into that.
Dude, let's do a story. I'm down for it.
You want to do a story? Dude.
Yeah, what quite close.
It was If you're looking to change brokerages this year so you can increase your business and you want to join us at eXp Realty and would like either myself, Ali Garced, or Shelby Johnson to personally sponsor you in, so that way you have access to 2 icon agents, text the word join to either my number, 914-318-4918, or Shelby's number, 703-399-4332. If I sponsor you and you have access to the both of us and everything that's 5 Pillars Nation, we have the checklist, the systems, the processes to help you scale your business. And don't take our word for it. We've had agents switch brokerages to join us that were stuck making $300,000 GCI, and they join us so they can scale. So text the word join to those numbers and we'll take the next steps. You want to do a story? Dude.
Yeah, what quite close.
It was my second transaction ever. I was working with clients that were in their early 20s, like 23, maybe 22.
Babies.
First-time home buyers moving, PCSing from Alaska to Davis-Monthan in Tucson. And they arrived physically in the state about 2 or 3 days after recording, transferred the keys, and they were there for about 2 or 3 nights when on the 3rd night, in the middle of the night, I'm talking midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, they receive bangs on the door. Somebody is banging on the front door and they didn't have their household goods yet. So they didn't have their weapons. They had freaking nothing. They had like a couple of military book bags, and like they were sleeping on the floor. They didn't have anything. They didn't even have a knife. So in the middle of the night, somebody's banging on the door and they're scared of shit. So they call the cops. As they call the cops, the banging on the front door, they ended up opening the door 3 days after these buyers it's the buyer's house now. So they're calling me, they're calling the cops, they're calling everybody. And guess where I am? I'm in Belize on team trip with 5 pillars. Yeah. So I'm literally with you down in Belize and the rest of the crew. And I have no idea what's going on. So as they're calling the cops are saying, the cops ended up coming out there, but it took a while, right? Because it's Tucson. It freaking took like 20, 30 minutes for the cops to get down there. Can you imagine that, a home invasion, and it takes 30 minutes?
Dude, I'd be so terrified.
Like, that's how Tucson is. It's scary. So they're hiding in their kitchen, or sorry, they're hiding in their closet with nothing to defend themselves. Both like the husband and wife, young, like 22-year-old couple, with their cat. And they hear people inside their living room, walking through their kitchen, walking through their bathroom, and they're saying, "Come out, you don't own this house."
No.
And yeah, like straight up, they're saying, "Come the fuck out, you don't own this house, you guys are squatters, we need to remove you." And I don't know if I guess who it was. it was I don't know what that hired company that makes sure that nobody is squatting and nobody breaks into own properties back when used to, do this part. Back when like flipping a lot of homes, they went super, super heavy in Arizona. So this own property, and because it was at the height of the market, they weren't going fast enough to where their own system wasn't updated. This is 5 days after closing, and they thought they still owned it. They had the cameras inside the property that were still on, recording my clients in their day-to-day activity, like 100% illegal. My clients are scared. They have no idea what's going on. They're calling the cops. The cops come, and the cops are like, "Hey, you need to show us the deed." And they're like, "What's a deed? How do we show you that?" And so they're calling title. They're calling me at 1 a.m. We're awake. I was awake. and then the cop is like, "Well, who is your real estate agent? Maybe this whole thing was a scam." And they're like, "Well, this is our real estate agent." And the cop is like, can you get your realtor to come out here?" And they go, "No, she went on vacation to to Belize." And the cop was like, don't you realize you were scammed? This is a scam.
No.
And they were like, "No, I think we own this property." It was like 100% fucked. And I tried to get them like legal counsel, and nobody wanted to pick up the case. Not one person, not one attorney. We called like 14 different attorneys.
So what, did they just drop it?
So a couple of business days after that, tried to collect their cameras back. And my clients, being so nice, they were like, "Okay, yeah, you can come get it." I was like, "No, do not give them their cameras back. Anything abandoned in the property is now yours. Like, take it, destroy it, use it, do whatever you want to do. But that shit is now your property. It's not your fault that wasn't up to speed with their own home buying process and home selling process." So they were like terrified. They were petrified. They were scared to live there in their own house for like a couple of months after that. Like any noise that they heard in the middle of the night after that, they were like, "Oh my God, someone's going to break in." They had PTSD.
Welcome to real estate to Ali. Second
That was my
closing ever.
second. Yep.
Into, the fucking death pit.
Yes. Wild. It was wild. Lesson freaking learned. Like, changing your locks is needed. It's required. And if for some reason you're not going to be in town, you either can have someone that you trust, a family member, a friend, be there during the change of locks. If they're going to do that, you just have to make sure that you're available on FaceTime or anything like that, so you can talk to the locksmith, because good locksmiths will not just go to a property and say, "Oh, you want to change this lock? Let me do it." Because then at that point, anybody could break in anywhere. So a good locksmith won't do that. Just make sure you're like available somehow to talk to the locksmith directly.
Well, perfect. I'm glad that we all heard that story. It needed to be told.
It was scary.
Now,
Man, I will forever feel for them. but they since then sold that house. So step number 3 in this email is to schedule internet and cable. And those are like the ones that I suggest scheduling earlier because internet cable usually take the longest in my experience. And if you want to schedule any other services like pool company, if you're buying a house with a pool, or pest or weeds or termites, anything like that, those typically those are fine if you end up starting that contract closer to the day of closing. So that's where I have that here. Following on with this email, then I say, it's been great working with you. I loved helping you through this home purchasing journey. Can I ask you for a favor? Do you know of anyone else looking to buy or sell? This could be in any state, not just Arizona. Because typically, unless you don't say that, people will only think, oh, sorry, I don't know of anyone else moving to Tucson. And because they don't understand that you get paid off referrals. So you have to train your clients, train your friends, train your family to do that. And if they do, my next blurb in the email is, can you start a group chat and introduce me to them? I would love to connect them to a realtor that would be able to provide them the best service possible. My business runs on referrals. Connecting me to someone who that is looking to sell their property would mean the world to me. That's how I make a living. Again, even if they're not in Arizona. Thanks in advance.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the group chat, when you're like, can you start a group chat and introduce me to whoever this referral is? What is your process? Like, you do that, obviously. So it's like, hey, this is a real person. They're going to hype you up. Like, we love Ali so much. And then from there, do you immediately take it out of the group chat? Like, what is your response and then follow-on actions for that?
So the group chat starts. I then send a video message of me to the group chat. So that way the referrer knows that I'm not dropping the ball and I want to thank them. If I can't, for some reason, do a video chat, I'll just do a text. Sometimes I'll do an audio message too. So I'll say something like, Shelby, thank you so much for connecting me to Aaron. I'm so excited to meet Aaron. Aaron, let me know when a good time is best for me to call you and start the process. I'm also going to text you on the side too. So that way we don't bother Shelby. And then, so that way, that's one. I've pretty much said thank you to Shelby. Then I call them or, schedule a call with them. I text them back immediately, me directly to them. And then I get the appointment scheduled. If the appointment is not scheduled within that day or the next day, I go back to the group chat. So in that way, that referee, that agent, that new client feels a little bit more pressure to respond because Shelby's their friend and they're going to look like a dick if they don't respond. So then the conversation goes back to the group chat.
When you go back to the group chat and you add that pressure, what is your go-to then? Are you texting? Are you doing another video being like, hey, you fucking dick, you didn't reply to me. I'm still here. Like, what does it look like?
Usually it's just like a quick, just normal text. So I'll be like, hey, Aaron, sorry we missed each other. I thought that we had scheduled for 1:00 yesterday, but totally fine. I'm available all day today, or I'm available XYZ today. Looking forward to talking to you. Yeah.
Okay. Very cute.
Yeah. And if they still don't follow up, then I'll go directly to Shelby. And I'll say, Shelby, what's up? I thought Aaron was ready to go. Are they not? I don't want to pressure them. I don't want to bother them. I just want to be of assistance, just like I was of help to you. So.
Okay, love it. Very good amount of pressure, because that is something that I know that people don't always feel comfortable doing. There's a lot of in the head talk that goes on where it's like, am I bothering them? How much is too much? I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be salesy, but then I don't want to miss the opportunity. I don't want to, so that is a really good breakdown of how to apply pressure and still not, I don't think you're annoying.
If you're looking to change brokerages this year so you can increase your business and you want to join us at eXp Realty and would like either myself, Ali Garced, or Shelby Johnson to personally sponsor you in, so that way you have access to 2 icon agents, text the word join to either my number, 914-318-4918, or Shelby's number, 703 399-4332. If I sponsor you and you have access to the both of us and everything that's 5 Pillars Nation, we have the checklist, the systems, the processes to help you scale your business. And don't take our word for it. We've had agents switch brokerages to join us that were stuck making $300,000 GCI, and they join us so they can scale. So text the word join to those numbers and we'll take the next steps. Okay, now we're back on the checklist, and bullet point number 2 is to ask the client to review on all platforms. As of right now, I just do Zillow and Google. My number 1 is Google. If they're to write just one testimonial on one platform, I would suggest Google.
Same.
Yeah. And for a second one, if they want to just copy and paste, which is what I asked them to do, like don't have to think about it again. It doesn't have to be a different review. Copy and paste it to this link and this link and this link. I found that, once in the beginning, I was sending like freaking 4 links. They're not going to do that. There is an easier way though. There is an app or a website that my lender uses, and it's called Experience. So I know that because I recently wrote him a review on his website, Matt Lebezetta Guild Mortgage, on his website, and it automatically pulled exactly what I wrote to his Google page. It's brilliant. I personally am not signed up yet, but I think I will be. So look into Experience. And I think the actual website is, while Shelby is looking for the actual website, so I'm going to continue with this checklist. So I ask for them to review me on Google. And I tell them exactly that. Like, Google helps me so much to be able to be placed in front of other opportunities to help other clients. So if you're going to put one review only, please do Google. And then also just copy and paste that into Realtor, Redfin, Zillow, whatever other websites you use, your website, etc.
So it looks like it really is experience.com, like www.experience.com. I'm looking now for the price, but it looks really cool, and it has a lot of integrations. So just like Ali was saying, it's like, they collect the single review and it just looks like it spits it everywhere, and also connects to your CRM. Like, there's a bunch of different CRMs listed on this. So you could probably make it really seamless.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
I found out about this just a couple of days ago. So that's why it's not on the checklist yet. But I'm gonna look into this and see how easy it is to implement to everything. Because if you can do everything, Realtor, Redfin, Zillow, Google, like your website, it's a no-brainer. Well, depending on the cost. So check out the pricing. Okay. So I want to mention the reason I'm asking for reviews before we have even closed, before we have recorded, is because all the contingencies are removed. And it's because the clients typically have even started the moving process. Once you have closed, once you have recorded, that client, first of all, is no longer a client, but that client is so busy. They're moving. So for you to, at that point, ask and ask and ask for a review while they're driving across the country, while they're waiting their household goods, while they don't even like have a fork and knife, to eat. Like, they're busy
or defend themselves
while they're having people break into their property when it's rightfully theirs for 6 days. Like, they're busy. So that's why I start asking them at this point. And toward the end of this, I'm going to show that email that specifically goes over how to get a 5-star review every single time. So the next step is complete the final walkthrough with the buyer, or send them the waiver if they're out of town to waive the final walkthrough. This is going to be brokerage dependent, MLS dependent, state dependent. In Arizona, if the buyer or buyers are not physically there for the walkthrough, they have to technically waive it. Even if the agent is there, even if their mom is there, even if they're, some non-buying party is there, technically they have to waive the walkthrough. Doesn't mean they can't go into the property, so we still schedule a walkthrough. In that walkthrough, again, MLS dependent, brokerage dependent, we have a form that says either yay or nay. Is the property in the same condition as it was when you went under contract, or is it not? And I think so many agents, so many younger agents, millennial and younger, I'm calling us millennials young, baby. So many agents are afraid to send the form of the final walkthrough saying, no, the property is not in the condition of when we went under contract. And you need to be comfortable doing this. So I'm sure like every brokerage is different, forms are different, but in our state, it literally says, nope. When we went under contract, the fence was upright. When we went under contract, you had 3 fridges, and that's what we negotiated on, that all 3 fridges were going to stay. So that's when you want to pull up the original contract. What exactly did you ask for? Pull up the photos of when you or your buyer agent viewed the property, sent videos and photos. Does it look the same? Are there any crazy cracks after people have, taken off their TVs and taken off their paintings off the walls? Do you see mold now? Like anything can happen. And this is I don't want to say the most important, but this is very freaking important. As soon as people take the rugs out, and especially if you went under contract on a house where the owner still lived there, or there was furniture hiding some stuff, you want to make sure that there's nothing crazy. And I've seen this time and time again where buyers agents will say yes, saying, it's okay. Like, I trust that the listing agent will tell their seller to put the pool fence back up, or to do just this minor, or bring the fridge back, bring this YZ back. Do not rely on that. Do not be afraid to tell your TC to send the final walkthrough as failed. Like, this is not the property in the condition that we went under contract with. Fix it, or we are not closing. So yeah, big rant on that.
Dude, they don't have those in North Carolina, at least back in the day. I literally just wrote down for Kentucky, is there a yay or nay form? Gotta find that out.
That's crazy.
You do a final walkthrough, of course. And then I would have like all of the repair requests and the contract with me, and like make sure everything was done. But if something wasn't done, you just go back to the listing agent and be like, yo, bitch, or sir, this shit's not done. And then you just like negotiate, but there wasn't like a form. So I don't know. A form is scarier for being on like the selling side. A little more dramatic.
Yes. 100%. Because can you imagine as a listing agent saying, yo, why did you take that fridge? Like, you have to put the microwave back. You have to put the whatever back. We cannot close. You're not going to get your funds until you bring it back. Arizona just makes it very formal. Like, they will not record until the final walkthrough is signed.
It's good.
By all parties.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then the next bullet point, when you're at the final walkthrough, take the keys out of the super box, of course, with listing agent's permission. Talk to them first. You're not the owner, neither are your clients yet. So with their permission, you can take the keys out of the super box and put them into a general contractor lockbox, either theirs, preferably your own. Of course, don't give the code out yet. This is going to be, make sure that your broker approves of this, and et cetera. Because it could be within an hour after that they record, and your buyers you're not going to be able to meet your buyers at the exact moment that they're going to arrive. So you want to make sure that your buyers can get in as soon as they are owners. So instead of you holding onto the physical key, you can leave it in a secured lockbox where no one else knows the code except for the person who is supposed to know the code. So therefore, once it records, you can immediately give them the code and say, you can go on in, I'll meet you there in like 2 hours, or whatever it is that you want to do. Then schedule the locksmith, again, redundancy. And if you're the agent that orders closing gifts, so of course, this is still the before closing checklist. Order the closing gift after all the contingencies are removed. Tell me how I know. I have sent several gifts where we didn't even end up closing. I no longer send gifts because that's not the value that I provide. Gifts are not my love language. You do not want a gift from me. So just want to make sure that you send the gifts after all the contingencies are removed and you're actually going to close. And then confirm that the clients and the spouses have reviewed me or you on all 5, 6, 7, whatever platforms. Carrying on. Next page is the day of closing. If the buyers are in town, coordinate with them and go to their closing. If you can be there during their signing, be there during their signing. I am not, because usually they're signing from across the country, across the world. Bring any sort of props that are, I don't want to say corny, but that like they would want to take a photo with. Don't make them feel like they're just like being sold. So bring something, some sort of prop, take social media photos, bring champagne, bring fruit, whatever it is that you do for your clients. And if they are out of town, then call them and congratulate them. Oops, I have call sellers. I obviously mean call the buyers and congratulate them. Then after that, I have if the buyers have access to on base. Again, my clients are mainly VA and military, either active duty or veterans. If they have access to on base, they don't have to pay a notary. They can do it on base. That does require a lot more coordination on your end, but it can save them $200. So that's pretty cool. If the legal office on that base has availability, they usually have availability like once a week to do any notary. So if it matches, that'd be great for them. Sometimes the buyers are like, nope, too much effort for me to go on base. I'd rather just do it at home when they come to me. So whatever it is that they want to do. Of course, the title company has to approve of that. And the title company will most likely ask for the DA, the commission disbursement. When your TC puts it in SkySlope, the DA is automatically sent to whoever the title rep is, but you just want to make sure the amounts are correct, that the final closing credits are correct, that your commission is correct, the closing date is correct. Everything is still matching because people are human. Title are people and they will make mistakes. Sometimes they will forget that last form where you negotiate another $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 or where they switched the, interest rate. You want to make sure that that your clients are getting exactly what you negotiated for.
And I have a quick, I think this might have been my second closing ever of all time, possibly. And I was so excited. They got the house, negotiated this fucking amazing, allowance. It was like an $11,000 paint allowance for, and I'm not sure if it was allowance or if it was supposed to be written out to the contractor, probably depending on concessions. Does not matter. Whatever. It was like $11,000. And we went to closing, we signed, the seller signed, everything record. We were fucking stoked. And then my buyers looked at me and they're like, well, where do I get my 11,000? Like, how do I get that money? And I was like, oh, the shit was not on the CD like it was supposed to be. It was just not fucking there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay $11,000. Like, obviously, if it's my mistake, I'm going to pay for it. But I was like, no, I can do this. I can solve this. And I just call the listing agent all smooth being like, hey, the clients would love if you could just write that check out to them and I can swing by later this afternoon and pick it up if that works for you. And he was like, I'm surprised they didn't do that at closing, but sure, no problem. Like, we'll have it. I was like, wow. And he got his seller to write the check and away we went. So I was saved by that. But in many cases, I would have been royally fucked. And my clients also in that moment, but I would have, fronted the money for it. But anyway, don't be like me.
Yeah, no. And it happens. I mean, it happened to me about 2 weeks ago. Well, I didn't have to pay and anything like that, but we had negotiated so much that my VA buyer, of course, the VA buyers cannot physically get any money at closing, but they can bring absolutely nothing down. So we negotiated so much that there was an extra $4,000 floating around that we could not use. And title company, I reached out to title and I was like, hey, how come, the numbers don't seem to add up. And they're like, oh yeah, we couldn't use the extra $4,000 because there's nothing else to apply it to. I'm like, whoa, we can apply it to his car debt.
Find something.
We can apply it to any personal debt, credit card debt. He just can't leave with cash in hand, but you can put that into anything. So, always bring up all the addendums or the amendments, whatever you guys call it, and make sure that the numbers work out because that just happens all the time. And sometimes if you don't have a good relationship with title won't tell you. Like I do. So title was like, yo, what are we doing with this extra $4,000? So.
And I think also maybe the second you guys, if you haven't closed two yet, watch out for your second closing because that one's a bitch. It's coming for you.
Maybe that is. Yeah, dude, that's a trend. Oh my God, we need to pull the rest of 5 pillars. I wonder if their number 2 is
Theirs
also
was all number 2. Yeah.
And then, of course, the last 2 bullets of this before closing checklist is to make sure all the forms are updated. Ask me how I know this one about the lead-based disclosure. Do not get fined. Luckily, I didn't. We caught it last minute, but oops, we forgot the lead-based disclosure. Shit. And the bullet right before that is to ask for referrals. Again, before they start getting panicky and stressed about moving and packing, unpacking, all of that, ask for the referral, ask for the review in the next episode, part 6 of the buyer checklist, which is going to be the last part. I'm going to be showing you the exact email to send that covers everything of what you need to get an outstanding 5-star referral from a buyer client every single time. Stay tuned. Reach out to us, be a bro, and share this show.